That's right. Oh, yeah. It's commercial time. Let me put this in. If you don't watch the Donniesport football show, we're going to send a Longhorn and a Mountain Man to your house. We're going to create havoc. Don't let the uniforms fool you. They both roll gangster. The following is a presentation on the Donniesport 17 Network. Two, three, four. I'm bringing football back, and that's a fact. I'm bringing football back, sexy back. Put it back on the track, Jack. Football, football, Bringing football back, bringing football back, bringing football back, bringing football back. I'm bringing football back. Welcome to the football show on the Donniesport 17 Network on YouTube. Woo!
Again, it just seems like yesterday that we were joining the Big 12. But going into year 3, I think never been as more excited about going into a season as we are right now. So I think our players in our locker room understand what the Big 12 is all about. They understand how challenging it is. They understand what the venues are like. They understand what the teams are like, personnel is like, coaching is like, style of play is like. I obviously tried my hardest to be able to relay that to not only the players but the coaches and the administration and the fan base. And until we get through it for a couple of years, I knew it was going to be challenging. So with that said, I think our guys are ready to go. They're up for the challenge. We play one of the toughest, if not the toughest, schedule in the country. Haven't really had to mention to our guys what the challenges are ahead of us because they know and they're working hard and they're getting themselves ready for the challenge that exists here in 2014. So with that, we'll take some questions.
Okay, we'll take questions from Coach. Got questions on the right side, Coach, about halfway back.
Good morning, Coach. Ben Kirchhoff from Bleacher Report. I was wondering if you could give an update on how the process is going of building depth on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of injuries on that side last year. It seemed like it really kind of ran out of fumes toward the end of the year.
Yeah, Ben, it did, and we need to be prepared for that to happen again this year. I can't use that as an excuse on why we didn't win a couple of those close games at the end of the year. One of the challenges that we knew going into Big 12 play several years ago is you better have depth, and you better have depth that can compete at a high level. Probably the biggest difference in the conference that we used to be in and the conference that we're in now is that needs to happen if you want to win for several reasons. One, when guys get injured, and they will, you need guys to step in and perform at a high level. The style of ball that exists in the Big 12, although it is a very exciting style of play, you're going to end up taking more snaps. So when guys get tired, you better be able to replace those guys with guys that can go in and perform at a very high level. I think we're at that point right now. I have 55 guys on our team that have played Big 12 football. So that just means that there's guys that have played, that are experienced, and they should be continuing to get better each and every year.
Questions for Coach? I caught him unawares, Coach. question towards the rear on the aisle.
One's from the Virginia Post, Coach. You only had Trickett healthy for about 3 quarters last season, and obviously put together a pretty good game against Oklahoma State. What are you expecting out of him this year, and how do you go about keeping him healthy and on the field?
Yeah, good question, Ed. You know, when Clint's been around football his whole life. You know, I think it starts with his father, Rick, who's a tremendous offensive line coach at Florida State. Played 3 good high school years at North Florida Christian, and played at a high level down there in a pretty good football situation. Backed up E.J. Manuel, backed up Jameis Winston there for several years, and been around a lot of football. He joined our team in August, and although he possesses a tremendous amount of knowledge when it comes to the game of football, he possessed 0 knowledge when it came to our offense. So it took him a while to be able to understand that. When I finally felt like he was ready to go, put him in there against Oklahoma State, had a tremendous game, got hurt, and was never the same the rest of the year. So, you know, you fast forward a year later, August going into his senior year, a year later, not only does he possess the knowledge that it takes to be successful in the game of football, he understands the knowledge that needs to exist when it comes to our team. He's been out there working with our guys all summer. There's a rapport that needs to exist with him and the receivers in order to be successful. You know, they need to understand each and every one of their little nuances when it comes to being able to get open and sign language and a nod here and a cut off there, and all that's starting to exist right now with him and the rest of the guys. So I think all that's going to take care of itself. Well, I named him the starter a couple weeks ago. One, he was healthy, he looks good, he's 100%. Arm strength is awesome. His body weight is good. That's gonna take care of itself. The leadership aspect of it is something that we were missing. You know, I was looking out there, and not only we had a bunch of guys coming back that had played a lot of football, but there wasn't any leadership that was present at the quarterback spot, at the skill spot. He'll be able to take that. He'll be able to take that to another level. People follow him. He understands what it takes to be successful. He needs to stay healthy. I think that's obviously the biggest thing. And right now we're talking to him on how the specific things that he can do to be able to protect himself, which is what every quarterback needs to do out there.
Got a question on the outside left.
Dana Barry Trammell with the Oklahoman. After your Orange Bowl victory over Clemson, coming into the league, tons of excitement around West Virginia football. 2 years later, how important is it to rekindle that excitement after the 2 seasons you've had?
Well, you know, the days of rolling through the Big East and being able to play in a BCS game are long gone. We're not thinking about that anymore. Although that was fun and that was a huge moment in West Virginia University, it's a whole different ball game right now. You know, and one of the things that has happened in the Big 12 over the last 2 years, we have not been dominant in the Big 12, obviously. I don't know how many teams have been dominant in the Big 12. Parity is upon us. You better be ready to go each and every week. You know, you take Baylor last year, tremendous season. Art has done a great job. You know, in 2012, they were in a pretty bad place about mid-season. Now they got it together towards the end of the season, but they weren't in a very good place then. They stuck with it and they went. We've been competitive. You know, this past year we lost 3 overtime, we were in 3 overtime games. We lost 3 fourth quarter leads, won a couple of close games. Each and every game pretty much was competitive, and we need to stay the course, continue to develop our talent, continue to recruit better, and then when we're in those games, hopefully we can put a season together that everybody can be proud of.
We have a question on the right rear.
Larry Vaughn, Pittsburgh Tribune Review. Question on your running game. How are you? I'm here.
It's not as easy to
The other
see up
side.
here as you might think.
How do you expect your running game to be with Charles Sims gone?
Well, Charles was a great player for us. You know, he was one of those guys that came in and was a first-year starter for us. With that said, played a lot of ball and had a great year. You know, I think we've recruited well at that position. Dreamus Smith is kind of the guy that's in the forefront right now. Did have 500-600 yards last year. Had the same amount of yards per carry as Charles did. Just didn't get the touches because Charles was a little ahead of him. You take some guy. We've got some other guys that have started some games, and Dustin Garrison and Andrew Bowie. Those guys have led our team in rushing the previous 2 seasons. Russell Shell's had a great offseason. He's played a lot of ball. He started at Pitt as a true freshman, looks phenomenal. So you got a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things. That running back spot needs to be versatile, needs to be able to do a lot of different things. I feel like we got a lot of guys that can do that.
On your left side, Coach, over here on your left side, about 2 miles back.
Suzanne Halliburton with the Austin American Statesman. Dana, you're kind of known for your spread offenses going across the country. Do you actually recruit defensive guys to defend your type of offense, or what's your basic philosophy on defensive guys? And I know that I'd asked Paul Rose, and he said that he recruits more defensive backs and maybe the linebacker numbers and defensive linemen go down.
Well, when you're playing in the Big 12, you're gonna have to defend the pass, and you're gonna have to be able to do it quickly. I think everybody understands the style of play that exists in the Big 12, and we're no different. When it comes to recruiting defensive personnel, we try to recruit as much defensive personnel as you can. You better have some big guys up front that can stop the run. You better have linebackers that can fill gaps and stop the run. In addition to that, you better be able to drop the coverage and be able to cover people. The secondary is probably the most important position on the defense in today's day and time. We need pass rush. With that said, we need guys to be able to cover. I feel like Daryl Worley's here is one of the better cover guys that I've seen, and he's only going into his 2nd year on our team. Carl Joseph's a guy that's extremely motivated and playing at a high level. We're trying to recruit the best kids that you possibly can and get those guys to understand what they're up against and be able to improve their skill set each and every year.
You're on the right side, Coach, in the middle.
Bryce Cherry, Waco Trib. Coach, in your 2 Big 12 matchups with Baylor, I think there's been about 250 points scored. The similarities with your offense and their offense, do you think that leads to those kind of shootouts, and do you expect another high-scoring game in Morgantown?
Well, I hopefully we can. I think Art would agree with me on this, and that they did improve defensively last year. But you better be able to improve defensively and stop some people if you want to win some games. That doesn't mean you need to hold people to 14 points. Baylor had a good defense last year, but still gave up some points. I think we're in the 40s against them. But the 2 games, I was not in a good place 2 years ago when everybody was excited about our 70-63 victory against Baylor. Obviously, I was not in a very good place because of where we're at defensively. We played, I think, 8 or 10 freshmen in that game. You're not going to be able to be successful defensively. You're not going to be able to win games when you're playing that many freshmen. It goes back to the depth comment I had a little bit ago. You better be able to plug people in there when guys go down or get tired, and be able to perform at a high level if you want to be able to win games in the Big 12. Art's done a great job. I give him a tremendous amount of credit. I give his entire coaching staff and team credit for hanging in there. They've had some good players over the years, but they hadn't got to a championship level until last year, and they accomplished that. And they're the ones that everybody's going to be gunning for now. They understand that, but our game against them is going to be exciting, just like each and every one of the other Big 12 games are going to be as well.
That was West Virginia Mountaineer head coach Dana Holgorsen talking about his Mountaineers. Last year's Mountaineers played hard, played tough, but there were some games that they lost in the 4th quarter. So defense is important for him to have some success in 2014. More from the Big 12 Media Day from Dallas, Texas, here on the Donniesport Football Show. Keep it right here on the Donniesport 17.